Hello, everybody. I'm Alita Spire, and welcome to the Tim and Troy Show. Once a quarter, Tim Blank and Troy Albright give us their wisdom and their tips for our amazing tower gardens that we have in our backyards. And I know some of you have just looked into getting a tower, are contemplating getting a tower, or already have a tower. And so this little show is for you to kind of discern and decide whether or not, you know, what you're doing is the right thing and getting the tips from the best. So I'm going to, this is our April. We did one in January, and this is our second one this year. And so this show is fondly called that as the Tim and Troy Show. And Tim Blank, he's commonly and fondly known as Tower Tim. I'm going to have to see if I can mute you guys somehow. Mute you all, then I'll remute you. Okay, so he graduated college in 1992 with a degree in horticulture science and greenhouse management. Tim began his career at the Walt Disney Company at the Land Hydroponic Greenhouses at Epcot Center. He spent his early years conducting cutting-edge research with scientists from NASA, USDA, DOE, and Disney. And in 2000, Tim was promoted to Chief Horticulturist and Greenhouse Manager of the Land. And if you haven't seen the Land, you have to go. In his role, he managed 4 hydroponic biomes over a 2-acre area consisting of tropical, temperate, and commercial production and aeroponic greenhouses. In 2005, Tim left the Walt Disney Company to start Future Growing, a company that quickly became a leader in building vertical aeroponic food farms. How cool is that? And a company that quickly became a leader in building rooftop urban farms, commercial greenhouses. Well, the Juice Plus company acquired Future Growing in 2016 with the vision to spread tower garden technology all over the world. Tim now serves as Chief Technology Officer for the Tower Garden Division Development. He spends the majority of his time speaking publicly about the future of farming and developing the next generation of products at the Tower Garden Lab. He owns Future Growing. Troy is a pharmacist who founded RX Formulations, focusing on natural and bioidentical hormones for men and women, as well as all sorts of other things, even pet compounding. He and his wife, Lisa, founded True Garden in Mesa, Arizona. Arizona-based True Garden is the premier vertical aeroponic food farm in the Southwest U.S., the first of its kind facility operated by solar power, and was designed in partnership with Future Growing LLC with a vision to drastically reduce the region's agriculture water consumption while making local living produce available all year long in the hot desert regions of Phoenix and Southwest U.S. You can find Troy and his gardens at a lot of the farmers markets, and you can buy the produce readily there, which is really awesome. He offers seedlings and classes, and he's here to support our Juice Plus representatives and all of our tower garden growers in Maricopa County, for that matter, and beyond, actually. So he has, you know, the classes, like I said, offered, and we want to really take advantage of that. So without further ado, I would like to introduce Tim. You want to start off first? What? I got to unmute you. Okay, go ahead, Jessica.
Okay. Do I look like a Jessica, everybody? Thank you so much, Alita, for that introduction. And for those of you that are potentially new to tower gardening or don't have one, when Troy gets on, you're gonna see some really cool tower gardens in his Tower Garden Center there in Phoenix, Arizona. And one of the reasons that we decided to do the Tim and Troy Show for the Phoenix region and the Desert Southwest is that there's really a lot of things on this Zoom call that everyone can learn that's a tower gardener, but the Desert Southwest has such radically different growing seasons than everybody else. You know, for example, coastal Southern California, they just get a kick back and they have it great all year long. But most people throughout the United States have a spring, summer, winter, fall. And Arizona just has completely different seasons. In fact, up north in Pennsylvania when they're growing beautiful outdoor gardens. They're cooking bacon and eggs on the streets in Phoenix. So it's a completely different scenario. So we just kind of want to start off with going into the springtime for Phoenix. And so starting right now, this is such a great time of year to start an outdoor tower garden. Regardless of whether you're growing, you want to grow tomato, eggplant, cucumber, bell pepper, lettuces, greens, herbs. Everything grows really well right now in the Phoenix, Tucson, desert Southwest region. The days are anywhere from 70 to 85 degrees, and the nights are around anywhere between the upper 50s and the lower around 70. So you've got a nice range there. It's perfect growing season for cool season temperate crops. And that's why one of the reasons why we want to encourage you for this time of year, if you don't already have a tower garden growing, this is such a tremendous time of year to really just grow about anything you want to grow. There's not too many bugs out yet, and the days are starting to get longer, so you're getting a lot more sunlight. So just a great time of year to grow. And I really want to start off with, again, for those people that are new, just to share with you what all of us here who are avid tower gardeners. There's well over 100,000 of us just across the United States alone. And we love this type of gardening because we don't have to do, and the reason why I developed it almost a decade ago now, and it's evolved over the years, but 10 years ago, we really wanted to make gardening simple, eliminate the bending, weeding, and tilling. None of us like to do those things, and people who are disabled or elderly can't do them typically. And in the modern American family, space is very limited. So on just a 30-inch circle, and you're going to see some of Troy's towers in a moment, we can grow anywhere from 20 to 50 plants in pretty much just any above ground crop imaginable. So, and if you think about this garden taking that 30-inch footprint, we're doing this with 90% less water, which is definitely an issue in the Southwest. And most importantly, no harmful pesticide chemicals. And that's really important to the American family today. I can't tell you, it's almost every day I flip on my news feed on my iPad and see something else about just, radical numbers of cancers in different regions across the United States. And one of our best defenses against cancer and disease is moving towards a more plant-based diet filled with exercise and moving away from harmful pesticide chemicals, which are just on about everything today. And with climate change or differences in regional temperatures, farmers have to use more chemicals when the summers get hotter or the drier or the rainier. So it's so nice to be able to be in control of your food supply. And that's really what I've always been all about. That's what we're all about. So that's just a little bit of information for those of you that are new to the tower. For those of you that are setting up to grow right now, we want to walk through the springtime tips. And that's one of the key purposes of this call. So one of the most important things I never want to forget is anytime you grow any type of garden, but especially a vertical garden, you want to find a nice sunny spot outside. So some spot that gets a good majority of the sun throughout the day, very important. If you're going to plant, this is a vertical condominium for plants, right? So if you're going to plant 2, 3, 5, 6, 10 different crops, you want to put your small plants on the top, your large bushy plants at the bottom, and we call that pyramid planting because that's the shape we want your tower to be when it grows out. We don't want large stuff. We'd never put a tomato on the top, right? We don't want that tomato blocking sunlight because plants need sunlight to grow. So that's a really important issue for us. For those of you with multiple towers, I saw Nicole pop on there a minute ago. She's just a great example of someone who's always had an elite of their 2, 3, 4, 5 towers growing on their patio. And so if you were to go over to their house and visit them, you'll quite often see towers grouped according to plants. So what do I mean by that? Well, they might have a juicing tower. Really good juicing plants we love would be things like multicolored chard, parsley, kale. That's a gift that keeps giving. Once you plant that tower, you're harvesting off it for about 6 months. They might have a salad tower. And then say if they're doing tomatoes or eggplant, they might keep their fruiting crops to another tower. So that's what we mean about grouping. If you have more than one tower, it's a lot easier and simpler to group your towers. I know for my family and I have two daughters. Many of you on here know that already, but we get up every morning and we cut off the tower, right? And so when I send the girls out to the juicing tower, they don't accidentally cut off a cucumber tomato vine. They go straight to the juicing tower and prune those plants back, and it keeps it really actually fun and simple. It's also very important. I want to remind you, as this weather picks up, you get these longer sunny days. Very important tip. It's so helpful for pest control and plant quality. Keep your towers pruned. So we don't like to get our towers overgrown. I always have a rule of thumb. I say, I want to see the sun shining on the leaves and the air blowing through them. If your tower is so dense that the air can't get through it, that creates an environment for potential pests and disease. So it doesn't matter if it's for a short while, but as a general rule of thumb, we always want to keep harvesting. If we have tomatoes and cucumbers, we want to just thin those vines. Again, as a rule of thumb, I say it's got to be thin enough so a breeze blows through it. It's got to be thin enough so the light's getting in on the majority of leaves. If those two things aren't happening, your tower garden's getting full. So that's definitely an issue I want to bring up for Phoenix as things start growing really fast about right now. Now also, growing in a tower, when we grow vertically up off the ground, we are eliminating 90% of the soil-borne diseases and insects that, generally harm a regular vegetable garden. In fact, most of your insects lay their eggs in the soil and they crawl right up into the fruit and right up into the plant. So the tower garden, really I call that the iPhone of gardening. It keeps it fun and simple. It eliminates the majority of pests and disease, and especially if you follow some of these tips I just recommended, like keeping your tower harvested. I'll give you another good example. I have a good friend in Phoenix I visited last year, and I walked into their yard and I saw that they had one favorite dill plant growing. I think it was a second to top pot, and must have been about 3 foot tall, and it was flowering. And I asked him, I said, why are you letting that dill plant grow? I just love those flowers. Well, it's pretty cool, and it's amazing to see what the tower garden can produce, but that's something that's kind of a no-no. We don't want to be shading the other plants below, so just keep that in mind. Now, I want to talk about pests for a moment. As I said, we're growing up out of the soil. We eliminate the majority of our pest issues, but there's a few things we may deal with from time to time. So specifically right now in the desert Southwest, the desert is blooming right now. So if you've driven out, through your communities and out into the countryside, you'll see just about everything is in bloom. And so for the next 4 to 6 weeks, you're going to have an insect pest called flower thrips, THRIPS. And they're adult thrips, and they're emerging from the desert floor, and they are just flying in they're everywhere. If you look on your car, they're tiny fringed wing oval insect. They're super tiny. But if you have a darker colored car, a dark piece of paper, you can see them. They're going to land in your plants, and they have a mouthpiece called a rasping, sucking mouth part. Now that's Tim, the entomologist, talking, but what they do is that little mouth part scrapes the spongy mesophyll, the top of the leaf, and sucks the juices out of the leaf. And so when they do that, they leave all these white speckles over the leaves, and so you might wonder what that is. And so Troy is going to talk about it in a moment, but he has a great organic spray called pyrethrum. It comes from the chrysanthemum flower. And just during specifically this 4-week window, maybe 6-week window, it's a good thing just to do a quick spray once a week, and it knocks all those thrips down. So if you're dealing with that, and again, they're not coming from your yard, probably. They're not reproducing on your tower. They're literally coming in off the desert floor with the wind right now. So something you definitely want to look out for moving forward. And Troy, do you want to pick up from there and just show them some of the simple sprays we have available? And I believe, Alita, will you be posting for the new folks on there? I have a Tower Tim's simple organic sprays. You can use these for your house plants, for your garden, for your soil garden, for your tower garden. Alita, will you be posting that organic spray sheet on the Phoenix website there?
Yeah, I believe it's in the files section.
Okay,
I'm pretty sure. If it's not, I will post it again or bring it up to the front. If you go to the files on Arizona Juice Plus Facebook page, you will see it there.
Okay, and then I know, so a lot of people ask me, they say, Tim, where can I get, a lot of these simple organic sprays that you talk about on your recipes. And the funny thing is, you could live in a town of 100,000 people and go into Home Depot or Lowe's and not see these things on the store shelf because they tend to sell a ton of chemicals, right? And if you look at the label on a lot of those chemicals, even for our vegetables, they have a 30-day usability rating on them. I mean, that means a chemical hangs around for 30 days. And gosh, we grow a head of lettuce on the tower garden in 30 days. We start harvesting off of it in 10 or 14 days. So we certainly don't want to use harmful chemicals. If and again, most of the time, most of us don't deal with too many insect pests. But when you do have to use them, we have simple, safe organic sprays. And True Garden, that's owned by Mr. Troy Albright and Lisa Albright, his wife, there in Mesa, Arizona, carry a lot of these organic sprays and cool stuff. So Troy, do you want to pick it up and just show them what you have over there? And actually you have a very cool resource center that people can stop in and see and learn all about the tower garden actually for free.
Thank you a lot, Tim. We'll get back to you. Now hit it, Troy. It's your turn.
All right. Hi, everyone. Thanks, Alita, for having us again. We're excited about doing this on a quarterly basis, and we're excited about everything that Tower Garden's bringing to all of us. I wanted to just feed off of what Tim was saying here a little bit about these organic pesticides that are made from natural products. And we've already noticed the thrips coming in off the desert, like Tim was talking about. And so here you have some pyrethrin. Again, it's made from the chrysanthemum blossom. And this is going to hit all your soft-bodied insects. And like I said, we're noticing the thrips here as well. You've always got your neem oil, which is also OMRI approved. So these are great things that will enhance your growing experience as we grow in the tower. I wanted to show you a tower here. A lot of times people don't think they can't garden because they live in an apartment or simply don't have an outdoor space to grow in. But you know what's incredible? The Tower Garden Company has introduced these awesome LED lights. I have them off right now. Maybe I can get these to be turned on so you can see how bright they are. But these LED lights are, with the new technology and everything that's out there, they're really enhancing our indoor growing success. Look at how bright those are. And we've already harvested off this tower one time already, and cut everything back, but it's just has rebounded tremendously. So it doesn't take much space, just like Tim was talking about, 30 inches, 2.5 feet here. You can grow vertical. Using these indoor lights, we're excited about sticking to the leafy greens, the lettuces, and herbs. The lights will limit the space slightly for what you can grow. But again, as you see what we have on here, we've got some beautiful Swiss chard. Look at that. You got different types of basil here, nufar, your pesto, beautiful lettuces. You got some sorrel, different things on here, some chives and green onions. I mean, it doesn't limit you. So as we go down this pathway of healthy living, we really want to look at, the daily salads, the smoothies, a juicing tower. Again, have a tower with a purpose. If we really have a tower with a purpose, so if it's for juicing, you can grow all those different things in there for doing that. And again, we're willing to teach you on these things.
Hey, Troy, can I jump in for a second?
Yes.
So, one of the things I would point out is I want to really add to what Troy just said there. A lot of people, especially when they come to one of our seedling providers, like the folks there at True Garden, get so excited about gardening, right? And
Yes.
So they'll say, oh, I got 28 plant sites. I'm going to get 28 different crops. and they don't really, they don't really necessarily think about it. They just say, oh, I like all those vegetables, they look good. But what Troy was saying about having a tower garden with a purpose or mission, especially if we're growing indoors with LED grow lights, is, those LED lights limit our space. So for indoor growing, we stick with the lettuces, leafy greens, and herbs. So whether you're growing indoors or in your backyard, when we think about a tower garden with a purpose or a mission, everybody wants to. If you're part of this healthy living movement and trying to lose weight or trying to be healthy, pretty much everyone's trying to do some type of salad green and every day. And as I look, Troy just walking around his tower, he's got so much beautiful chards and lettuces. I mean, how fun is that to cut off of all that every day, right? And then for those of you that are on Shred 10 or doing smoothies and different things like that, we have people just juicing or smoothie towers. And I think Troy and Alita and I and many others who've been growing a tower garden for many, many years, we all agree that the multicolored chard, the parsley and the kale is really the gift that keeps on giving. It's like cut, grow, cut, grow, cut, grow. So Troy, I just wanted to add to what you said. Keep on rolling there. Thank you.
Yeah. So again, we sell a lot of seedlings, Tim, as well. Here's an example of the different varieties of kale. We got the starver, your curly kale. We got some Toscano kale in here, some Swiss chard, some parsley. Again, these are perfect for growing. So those that just want to continue to plug and play, we ship these seedlings all over the U.S. I just went before class here, before our Zoom call, and I grabbed a bunch of those tomatoes that you had talked about on your early intro Zoom video that we did. You've got your honey delights. I mean, these are just incredibly tasty. With the honey flavor that Tim got to taste. You've got your Washington cherries. You got some New Girls and some Valencias. I mean, these are just on our outdoor patio farm, just growing. So it's perfect for all your vining crops outside. But going back to your indoor tower, it's important that we really, look at growing a tower with a purpose. If it's a juicing tower, a salad tower, and we're more than happy to ship these seedlings to you every Monday and Tuesday. Along with that, we teach classes on our website. We have a list of classes twice a month. We'll do teaching of the classes, so that way you can feel empowered to go and grow in your own tower, or if you're selling towers, you can send people here and we'll educate them and send them back to you to keep growing indoors. So again, if you don't have a tower that shows well, then you don't sell those towers as well. So we're excited. We just have redone our learning center a little bit here, put up some new signage and stuff. The birth of a farmerpreneur. I mean, again, just trying to educate people on how the tower works, Mother Nature, water and sun. I mean, this technology that Tower Garden has brought to us all to use and grow without these pesticides. I mean, I don't know how many of you saw the new Dirty Dozen list. Again, number 1 was the strawberries. Number 2 was spinach, and number 3 is kale. So when you look at the amount of pesticides that are coming on our fruits and vegetables, it's crazy. And Tim can attest to more of that. But again, growing more food in less space, our carbon footprint's really small. So again, as a resource center, we're here to support all those that have towers. And we just get excited about it because as far as I'm concerned, you can grow healthy produce 365 days a year with the Tower Garden and those no LED lights, Tim. They're just incredible.
Troy, your Tower Garden store and resource center is looking beautiful. Wow.
We're just trying to open it up more and really make it more of a retail educational site. So we're excited about it, Tim. And next time you breeze through here, we'd love to show it to you.
To that Troy point, Troy, I love some of those posters you shared. It's a great reminder of a lot of the points that we share and talk about. We live in an environment that's very hard and politically today, and people are very concerned about the earth, disagree with why things are happening the way they're happening. They're concerned about their health. And I just really look at the Tower Garden as self-empowerment. It's what I was all about when Lita and many others and Nicole there met me 10 years ago. They know that's what we've always been all about. We don't really so much have to get, I really firmly believe that each individual choice creates mass change. And so when we move to this type of gardening, what's so exciting to me is that we're actually just immediately become part of the solution, regardless of how we vote politically or the programs we choose. We're already part of the solution. We're using less water, less land. I mean, the carbon footprint of your lettuce, for like when I'm in Orlando, Florida, and all these crops are produced with harmful, pesticide chemicals and require a huge carbon footprint to ship and chill all the way across the country. And here, for those of us who are tower gardening, and again, over 100,000 now tower gardening just across the United States, we walk out to our patio and we just, we didn't chill. That stuff never went on a semi. It didn't have plastic packaging. It's crazy, guys. I mean, we reduce our carbon footprint by 99% growing like this, and we're part of the solution. And then we're putting clean, healthy food into our bodies that is free of harmful chemicals and pesticide and is highly nutritious. I mean, you can walk up to a tower and smell the food, and that's such an indicator of great nutrition. So really want to thank all of you for being part of this revolution, and we're so excited to help you get growing. And this was a simple class today because you guys are growing in the easiest time of year there in Phoenix. And so there isn't a lot to do. I know when we come into, I think we're up again in June, and we'll be talking about how to deal with the summer heat and definitely growing indoors with LED during the hot Phoenix summer, which I still can't get over, that it can be 120 degrees in the day there, 90 degree at nighttime. It's just absolutely miserable.
Actually, it's July 11th is our next call.
July 11th. So really at this time of leader, for those of you growing outdoor, this is when you want to run your marathon and just, grow everything like crazy. And I know there's many of you that grow through the summer heat. You actually, during the long, hot summer days, you actually do the opposite of what I said. And you actually try to get your tower what we call semi-shade, like under a mesquite tree or something like that. Not something that, I would never put under like an oak tree in Florida, which has hard shade, but something that gives a little bit of semi-shade or some shade cloth really helps you push through the summer outdoors. So that's one of the things you can do moving into summer or start your tower garden indoors. So when we meet up again in July, we'll go through a lot of those options in more details. And Alita, did you have any questions that came through this evening?
Let's see. I have one. I have a person who wants to build their own with PVC. Can you talk about the benefits or pros and cons with the tower and PVC?
Sure. Well, that's where we started out. I had a 12-year career at Disney. One of the things about growing vertically is that things leak. And so some of our earlier towers were made from that type of material. They were custom made, custom welded. And when you add up all the parts, number one, it actually can be very expensive when you add up all the hobby parts and all the things you have to buy. And unfortunately, PVC is not food rated. It's no longer even being allowed to be used in homes. And so that would not be a good thing to grow food in because of the chemicals that's leached from PVC. So good question, Alita.
And what about putting your tower in Arizona rooms, where they're enclosed in screens and that kind of a thing?
Yeah, that's great. So if you have and we have those in Florida, if you have an Arizona sunroom or screen room, the thing you always want to pay attention to is does it have a ceiling? So if it has a ceiling, you might just be getting light to one side of your tower, Alita. So it's very important. I think of tips my grandmother had where grow a tower garden in your backyard in full sun, right? So just because, the tower garden is the iPhone of growing, it keeps it fun and simple and straightforward. It just kind of even like the question the gentleman asked there a minute ago about building something, we've taken all the hard work out of it. We've got the right fertilizer, the right everything for you. But at the end of the day, you still need good water and good sunlight. Those things are very important. The plant needs those to grow robust and healthy. So that's a primary thing you want to be sure of, is that you're not just getting sun to one side of your tower, Alita, to all sides. So if they're going to grow in a sunroom and there's only windows on one side, you might want to incorporate those LED lights into the situation.
That's great. Yeah, he was just saying supplemental grow lights, so that LED lights.
Yeah.
I have a surprise for all of you. I'm going to show a little slideshow of lots of different towers that you guys can view right now to close out our time. But first of all, I'd like you all to give a big thank you for Tim and Troy for giving us so much wisdom. We just love the show, and we just really wait for the next one. So how about that? Do you guys have any final last minute things, Troy or Tim? Do you have any last minute notes or something you want to say? Tim, you look.
No, if we can be a assistant to anybody, they can always call or send an email, Alita, and we'll try our best to answer them in a timely manner as well.
Okay, so I am going to share a bunch of towers. See what you guys think of this. Can you see them? Just give me a thumbs up. That's at St. Vincent de Paul. They have a couple towers there, and they're feeding the poor. This is inside. Those are the old lights we used to have. Guess who that is? Those are some in my backyard.
Nice.
I think Tim hopped off, but Troy, you're still on.
Yes. His computer shut off.
That's at the Land in Epcot Center where Tim's first started. That's what he put together. He put all this stuff together. It's unbelievable. You have to go see it. You see no dirt. You see no dirt in any of these places. Look at that squash.
Those are big. Oh my heavens.
What?
These webinars are pretty interesting.
Are you talking about what I'm looking at?
Those are my granddaughters. Grandkids love towers. I don't know why I have so many of those pictures up.
Oh, this is awesome.
You
Look at all the tower gardens. This is 1 week, 2 weeks, and 4 weeks.
like them?
Yeah.
Be cool.
Yeah.
Woohoo!
Look at all the tower gardens. This is 1 week, 2 weeks, and 4 weeks.
You like them?
Yeah.
Be cool.
Yeah.
Woohoo! Some of them are just full of lettuce. Some people just like tons of lettuce, right, Troy?
Oh, yes. Once you taste the lettuce, you have a hard time eating store-bought lettuce after that.
That is a tower that we brought to Phoenix Children's Hospital so that the kids in the oncology ward can start growing from a seedling all the way to a big plant so they can see something grow. That was really, that's Chef Menser who helped the kids grow the seedlings. So it was really wonderful. You can give them for Christmas. All right, I'm going to stop sharing now so we can let you guys go. So when you transport a tower garden like that, do you remove the plants? Some people do, some don't. Some put them in, they have little crates that they can make for them. You want to address that, Troy?
Typically, depending on how far we're going and how big my plants are, if they're really embedded in there, I don't. I use bungee cords, and I just put the towers into my back of my Honda Pilot, and I just suspend them with bungee cords as I transport them. Now, if I have smaller plants, I will remove them, but typically I don't. I just transport them with the plants in place and just take them in and go.
That's cool. All right, any final questions? We're going to close now for tonight, and I want to thank you all for joining us. And if I can unmute you, then you can all say goodnight. Let's see how that works. I don't know how to do that.
Thanks, Troy.
Thanks.
Thanks,
Bye.
Alita.
Bye, Alita. Thanks.
All right, guys. All right.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye. Thank you.
Thank you, Troy.
Thanks so
You're
much.
welcome. Thank you.
Thank you, Tim.
Thank you.